Hello, YouTube. Welcome to another installment of MUET Reading Comprehension Strategies webinar. With me, I have another 3 more DEC students. DEC stands for Diploma in English Communication. And our first presenter for today is Miss MAZLEENA Muhammad Syukri. Hello, MAZLEENA.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. My name is MAZLEENA binti Muhammad Syukri. I am from Group Mochizuki, DEC 5B, and today I'm going to explain in detail about on how to answer the RAF MUET questions.
Okay, thank you very much. And below me, okay, we have another DEC student, and her name is NURFARAHIN RAHIMAN. Hello, NURFARAHIN.
Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is NURFARAHIN RAHIMAN, and today I will be assist you and explain about the PTA question in MUET reading.
Okay, thank you. And finally, we have NURAZIEMAH IBRAHIM. Hello, NURAZIEMAH.
Hello, so hi everybody. My name is NURAZIEMAH binti IBRAHIM. I'm from Group Mochizuki from the EC 5B. So today I will be presenting to you guys about supporting details type of question for MUET reading test.
Okay, thank you very much. Without further ado, let us begin our session. We'll start with MAZLEENA. Okay, over to you, MAZLEENA.
Okay, so today I'm going to assist you on how to answer the RAF questions. So before we begin, we need to know that there is 2 types of different RAF questions.
RAF stands for referencing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see the slide. Okay, so you need, first of all, you need to know that the referencing questions, they have 2 types, which is direct and indirect. So what is the direct and indirect questions? Okay, so the direct questions is usually come with pronoun or noun mentioned in the statement. So whenever if you see there is a pronoun or noun in the statement, that means it is the direct reference questions. And then the second one is the indirect question. The indirect question will ask directly about the content of the passage and ask you to refer the particular paragraph. So let's see some example here. These are the example of the direct questions. This again has immense implications. Line 67, the word this refers to. Okay, so as you can see, here is a pronoun and there's a word refers and line stated in the statement. So this means the direct reference questions. Okay, next example is the indirect reference questions, which is in paragraph 7, Tunku Abdul Rahman praises Tan Cheng Lock. Okay, so when the candidates see these types of questions, they will always jump into the conclusion that this is other supporting details questions because it asks the Tunku Abdul Rahman praises what towards the Tan Cheng Lock. Okay, but if you see and you think that it is SD, please make sure that you double check it. So how to? You need to look at here as the stated paragraph. In paragraph 7, okay, so this is the part of the paragraph 7. So, without Cheng Lock's patriotic support in these early days, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and as you can see here, those early days refers to a pronoun, which is, those early days refers to the answers to these particular questions. So, that's mean this is the REF indirect questions. Okay, so let's move on to the SOP. Okay. So first of all, the most compulsory things you need to do is the first and compulsory things you need to do is to read the statement. Why? Because through reading the statement, we know what the questions want us to do. Okay, and detect the text of the questions. And then second, refer to the lines stated in the statement. As I show you the example before, like there is a mentioned line in the statement, like line 24. So that's where you need to refer, because the answer is somewhere at there. Okay, so it has been divided into two, which is direct and indirect. So if you have identified that it is the direct questions, you need to read the whole sentence of the mentioned line. Here, you need to be aware of the answer position, because the answer or the contextual clues can be anaphoric or cataphoric. So what is anaphoric? Anaphoric is the word or sentence that refers to a particular pronoun before. The words or the subject is before the pronoun. So for the cataphoric, it is after the pronoun. So that's where you can find the contextual clues about what the pronoun is referring to. Okay, so check the most suitable answers. Like it can refers to the answer options. So you need to remember that the subject is always the answers. Whatever, if there is a subject, take please take attention to it, because it might be the answers. Either it is before the pronouns or after the pronouns. Okay, and then for the indirect reference questions, you need to identify and highlight the keywords in the answer option. So, in the answer option means you need to highlight any keywords that in the answer options that might related to the paragraph, because you need to match the keywords to the passage. So by this, you can find the most accurate answer. Sometimes the answer options can be really confusing, so you need to be careful while reading and match the keywords. Be aware of the synonym and the antonym. Okay, so to make it clear, I want to demonstrate and shows you the examples on how to answer these questions, these particular questions. Okay, so let's move on to the first one. Okay, so are the examples I took from MUET Book 10 edition, page 178, questions 4. Okay, so young ladies, line 38 refers to, so basically we know by looking at the line 38, we know that this is the direct questions and the word refers to. Okay, so are the pronoun. Okay, so young ladies, line 38 refers to. Okay, so we need to look at the paragraph. Okay, line 38. Okay, so make sure that you see. Okay, so this is our line 40. So if you count on it, this is our line 38. Okay, so here's the mention, young ladies. Young ladies, you remember what I said to you in a week ago? I am sorry this has happened, but I never allow my rules to be infringed, and I never break my word. Miss March, hold out your hand. Okay, so after you looking at refer to the line, you need to read the whole sentence. Okay, here we need to be aware of the answers of the contextual clues. Either it is anaphorics or cataphorics. Okay, so if we look at this particular sentence, like this whole sentence, it is a dialogue. So as you can see at the end, it's mentioned Miss March. Okay, so and we do not have clue who is Miss March is. So we look at more at the paragraph 18, which is Amy started and put both hands behind her. And at the next paragraph, your hand, Miss March. So that's mean Miss March is referring to Amy. Okay, referring to Amy. Okay. So, and if you can, okay, so let's try the anaphoric before. These are the young ladies. Okay, so here we can see a subject, colored, and also Amy. Okay, so sorry. So from here, we acknowledge that young ladies is involved Amy or Miss March. Okay, so in these REF questions, it doesn't mean that you need to look only on that particular paragraph mentioned. You also need to look at the beginnings of the paragraph, because there is always a clue. Okay, so if we look at the answer options, like there is all of the Emmy's classmates. Okay, so we got clues here, Emmy. Okay, classmates and the junior girls in the class, all the ladies in the school, and D, the students in the school. Okay, so the difference between these four answer option is that this is school, okay, and this is school, and this is in the class. As this mentioned classmates, so that means that the setting is in the classroom. Okay, so because this particular answer is almost the same, like Emmy's junior girls, the ladies, and the students in the schools. Okay, so let's look at the paragraph back. Okay, so we need to find where is the setting so that we can eliminate the answer that is not related at all. Okay, so after skimming this particular paragraph, I found that in line 20, sorry, not line 20. In this line 39, 17, 17, this brings with you the lines you have in your desk. Okay, so your desk, it shows that the setting is in the classroom. Okay, to make it to confirm that it is in the classroom, as we can see that an unexpected comment which arrested her before she got out of her seat. So clearly of her seat. Okay, so clearly that these settings of the story of the paragraph is in the classroom. Okay, so we need to eliminate uh, the all ladies in school and the answer option D. Okay, so we have these two. All of the Emmy's classmates and the junior girls in the class. As I mentioned before, that the clues that we see the most is Emmy. Like even before it, there is Emmy, and after it is a mismatch, which refers to Emmy. So there is no mentions of junior in this particular paragraph. Okay, so the answer. So the answer must be A. Okay, wait. Okay, the answer will be A. Okay. Okay, so that is how to answer the direct questions. Okay, so let's move on to the indirect questions. MUET book 10 editions, page 319, question 24. Okay, so here, first read the statement. In paragraph 7, Tunku Abdul Rahman praises Tan Chen and Locke. Okay, so these are in paragraph 7. Okay, so we need to refer to the paragraph or the line stated in the statement. Okay, so in paragraph 7, okay, so let's move on here. Okay, as I mentioned before, that this is indirect question because there is a pronoun in the sentence given. So those are the dates. Okay, so second, you need to, for the indirect, you need to highlight the keywords from the answer option. First is, okay, so I take the most different keywords, which is rights of the Chinese. These are the biggest subject of the answer option. Rights of Chinese, fights for independence, and Cheng Locke's intelligence. Okay, so here, role, this is what makes it different. Roles, support, and admire. Okay, so let's see here. We need to match the keywords to the passage. Okay, so without Cheng Locke's patriotic support in those days. This is those days is related to the what Tunku Abdul Rahman praises about Tan Cheng Lock. Okay, so you can see it says, I might say here that my mission for independence could not have been achieved except probably at the cost of trouble and bloodshed. Tunku wrote. Okay, so as you can see here, there is independence. Okay, could not have been achieved except probably. Okay, so here we need to look at the synonym. Okay, so here these are the independence. There is no mentions about intelligence or the rights of Chinese. There is no mentions of Chinese here, and you can see here my mission for independence. Okay, so fight for the countries. It could have the same meaning with the patriotic support. The patriotic support. So by that we need to eliminate the answer option A and C. Okay, so clearly that the answer is B. Okay, so the answer is B. Okay, so that's how that is the ways on how you can answer the reference questions. And okay, I share. Okay, so this is are the step by steps of our REF SOP referencing questions. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, MAZLEENA, for that very insightful explanation. So we were going to move on to our second presenter for today. We have with us NURFARAHIN. NURFARAHIN, over to you.
Today, my part is to explain and assist all of you how to answer MUET reading questions in the part of PTA. So basically, PTA is representing purpose, tone, and attitude. So for further information, first let's take a look at the slide that have been prepared. So this is the SOP on how to answer PTA questions. First thing first, if you got any questions, you need to read the statement first. And for PTA, the first step is to highlight the keyword and identify the clue. Why is this important? Simply because with highlighting the keyword and identify the clue, you will have your understanding on what to find, whether a purpose, a tone, or attitude. Basically, this type of question is really easy to detect because it will ask you directly, like as an example, what is the purpose of paragraph 5? So the thing is you need to highlight those keywords and identify the clue to make sure that you know what to find. Okay, so moving on to the purpose, after you already highlight and you notice that the question wants you to find the purpose. Okay, for purpose, the first things to do is to highlight the keywords in the answer option. There will be 3 or 4 answer options. So every single answer option is using the different verb, and it will requires your knowledge also. But before that, you need to identify if there is another requirement, which means is it already stated specific paragraph or whole passage. So if it requires you to find the purpose in a whole passage, you need to use scanning, which is you need to scan the whole passage to get the know to have the idea of the purpose. Other than that, if you need to find the specific passage, let's say you need to find in paragraph 5, so you just need to skim for that particular paragraph. And then after that, you need to identify the keywords or synonym in the passage. This is because sometimes the words that are using are different but give you the same meaning. With that, you have to match the keywords or synonym in the passage with the answer options, like the verb. As an example, if in the passage use the word describes, and then there is an answer options that explain. So it is the same, and also that is the questions, and the answer option, the other answer option like um use like exaggerate or something. So you need to find the most suitable word that match with the answer options. So to have a better understanding on what type of question, so let's take a look at the example questions on purpose. So this is the questions that I took from the MUET book. So the keywords, the first one is to read the statement and then highlighted the keyword. So the keyword is purpose, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. So it's already stated that you need to know the purpose. You need to search for purpose. And then it's stated paragraph 2 and 3, which requires you to do the skimming, which is specific paragraph. So after you had done that, you need to look at the answer options. This is what I mean by different verb. Let's use demonstrate, define, and describe. These three words have a different meanings, and it must for you to know the meaning of the single word. So at the passage, you need to find um, the word that maybe match the words in the answer options. So demonstrating, define, or describing. Because the other subject that we can see in here is changing in the face, that's changing, it's the same thing. But the thing that makes the answer different is the verb used in it. So the same goes with the next question. It's already told you that you need to find main purpose in paragraph 3. So the word that you need to know is what mean by alert, what is highlight means, and what is explained. So this is really important. But let's say if you do not have that kind of knowledge, but you need to look at the clues in the passage. So that's all for purpose. Moving on to tone. So tone is something that always related to the author. It is like what the author view about the particular passage or the articles. So to find the tone, first you need to skim, which is you need to reading critically. You need to identify and analyze at the same time, and then you need to know to identify the emotive words. What's mean by emotive words? Emotive words is words that express emotions or feelings. Like as an example, in the passage they use the word aggressive. So aggressive maybe see something that we can see if the author is mad or feeling something that uneasy. So that's how these emotive words describes the author feelings or view towards that particular passage. So after that, you need to look at the answer options. You need to analyze. You need to eliminate answer choice that not match with that feelings. Let's say if in the clues in the passage, they use the word happy. But in the answer options, there is something that opposite to happy, which is sad or disappointed. So it is not the answer, just eliminate that. Make sure that you find the most suitable words for the tone. So done with the tone, moving to the attitude. Basically, attitude is the hardest part of PTA because attitude requires your skills to identify the passage type and also requires your knowledge. And for attitude, the first thing that you can do is to skimming, which is reading critically, analyzing, because usually attitude question asks you about whole passage. So the things that you need to do is to read everything in the passage and try to find the keywords, highlight the keywords that point out the subject's attitude. So this is a very important step in attitude because with that skimmings and highlighting, you will be able to identify two things, which is positive and negative. Attitude can be both. Attitude can be either one, positive or negative. So it is important because you have to match with the answer questions. If the attitude in the passage is positive, so you need to find the answer in the answer options that is positive too, and you need to do the matching. But if it's a negative one, so you need to find a negative thing. So whenever you already find keywords that represents positive attitude, um, like maybe the passage is telling about the author that is felt really happy to wrote that kind of passage, so the answer options must be related to something that express the attitudes also. So it is really tricky questions, because sometimes the attitude of this particular writer can change from the paragraph one until the ends of the paragraph. That's why you really need to know, you really need to understand and read skimming to identify their attitude. You cannot just like pick a random passage to know the attitude. So a friendly reminder, everything that related to an author, like if asking you author attitudes or author views, is all the PTA questions. So the things that you need to really know is to identify the words or the keywords that lead to attitude. So settled with attitude, I will do the conclusion for PTA. So PTA question is exactly is tricky questions when it comes to the answer options, but it is not the hardest part of English reading, MUET reading. So the thing is, you really need to understand the keywords and also try and error about the meaning of the word. So I hope that these steps of explaining PTA to you will help you in order to answer these kind of questions. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Farahin. Okay, so let's move on to our final presentation. And our final presenter is NURAZIEMAH. NURAZIEMAH, over to you.
Okay, so hi everyone. So today I will be presenting to you about how to answering a supporting detail type of question in MUET reading. So what is actually supporting details? So supporting details is actually a statement or sentences that explain more or supporting the main idea. So usually supporting details contain elaboration, example, or and definition. So how do we actually uh, identify the supporting details question? So when we read the statement or the question given, we need to identify like a word because, or if there any missing information in the statement. So without further ado, I will share to you my SOP of supporting details. So this is my SOP for supporting details. So firstly, we need to read the statement given. So read it critically, because we need to identify if there is any missing information or any word. So next, we need to analyze and highlight the keywords. And we need to highlight the keyword because in order to answer the question, we need to understand and what does the question, or we need to understand the main idea. So next is we need to understand the explanation of the keywords or the main idea that we had highlighted. So in order to complete the statement, we need to understand the explanation. So next, we need to scan the passage. So to identify the supporting details, usually supporting details after the main idea, because function of the supporting details is to support or explain more about the main idea. So after we done with the scanning, we need to identify the sentence that probably bring the same meaning with the details in the sentence. So we need to do this because the sentence from the passage or the phrase from the passage uh, more directly sometimes directly have the same meaning with the details with the statement. So next, we need to find the details of the answer choices in the same sentence. So we need to take a look at answer choices and find the details of in the option if it have same sentences or statement from the passage. And if it yes and have a same statement or phrases from the passage, then circle the answer. And however, if the answer choices is not the same words or statement from the passage, you need to read before and next sentence and match with the answer choices because uh, and carefully because usually supporting details at before or after the main idea. And also, you need to consider the synonyms of the word used in the answer choices because in order to match with the sentence or from the passage, we need to consider the synonym words because mm, they're not always same statement or phrases with passage and the answer choices. So in order to make ensure everybody has a further understanding, I will show you guys the demo. So let me show you the question. So So this is from ST sample question from a reading test. So why do Kenyan growers send their flowers to be auctioned in Holland? So even though there is no word because this question use asked as a direct question. So firstly, we need to highlight the keywords or the main ideas. So the keywords here is why and send their flowers to be auctioned in Holland. So, so I already prepared the passage regarding the question. So you can see that here, nearly 2/3 of export are destined to Holland, where they are resold to florists to auction, which present present a safe avenue into the market for less seasoned growers. If you sell to an auction and you have a good quality product, people will be competing for your flowers, which will give you a better price. So keyword from the passage here is Holland, because you have a matching with the statement and auction here. So usually so this is the basically the main idea. So usually supporting details comes after the main idea. So in this paragraph we can see here, if you sell through an auction and have a good quality product, people will be competing for your flower, which will give you a better price. There is no matching word from the passage with the answer option. So we need to check on the synonyms because there is no word matching. So here we can see why, and this is a better price. So better price and uh, increase their profit here. Sorry, increase their profit here can be guessed as a synonym because both means like gains a lot, and so we can conclude that better price mean increase their profit. So the answer for why do Kenya growers send their flowers to be auctioned in Holland is C, to increase their profit. So that's all for me. So I hope this information given could help you guys to answering the supporting details question. So and my SOP right here could be help in order to you guys identify and answering the supporting details question. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, NURAZIEMAH. And thank you very much to all the panelists. And I hope you out there, you have learned a few things about how to tackle MUET reading comprehension question. Join us again for another installment of the webinar. I think after this is going to be our last episode. Thank you very much, ladies. And thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye.